Now, gone are the days when Botox and fillers were just for the rich and famous. Today, Tweakments aren't just available on Harley Street, but all across the UK.
Well, one of the This Morning team is proud to say that she loves a bit of a tweakment, and that's Sarah Jossel. And this is all come off the back of an article that you wrote in the paper.
Yes, exactly. So I made a decision that I watch sort of, how these things work and when people are open about it and when people lie about it. And not lie, actually, they feel embarrassed or they feel ashamed to admit that they have it. So today I thought it was really important to encourage this new chapter of being more open, not feeling so ashamed if you want to have something done.
And why do you think women, and men as well, because actually it's very popular with men, why do you think people are ashamed to admit it?
Well, I think there's just been this dirty little secret sort of stigma around it of it's terrible to care about your looks and it's embarrassing to admit that you ever, want to change something, heaven forbid. And I think that side of it is quite sad because...
But we're talking about Botox and fillers now. And why should you have to admit to it? If you want to do it, then why do you have to say anything? Well, why do you have to explain yourself?
I think that's a really, really good point, and you might not have to explain yourself. I think if somebody asks you the question, which I understand you might say, it's private, I'd rather not answer, but when you say, the reason why I look like this is good genes, the person who's watching this is thinking, I must have rubbish genes then.
Yeah.
And I feel terrible, I wish I had good genes.
Yes,
and it's creating this conversation.
That does make sense.
I think today, the main thing to say is there is a huge spike of people booking in for non-invasive cosmetic treatments. And what I just want to say is whether you're doing it or not, we've got to get people into the right hands, because at the moment, people are so scared to ask. When I interviewed GPs and dermatologists about this, they said that people lie on the forms to them because they're so ashamed. And one doctor told me that this poor lady gets cash back at the supermarket so that her husband thinks that she spent it on the shopping, and then she goes and she pays with cash just so that nobody can know.
So the key here is the name, Tweakments. This isn't like some big old thing. This is a little bit of something that you don't necessarily know, you can't necessarily tell. Not that that's what we're doing.
No, but it is,
that defeats the entire object of the entire item.
Did you or didn't you? Well, look, as I said, I'm open about it, so...
What have you had done?
What have I had done? So, I have had Botox in my forehead because, and when I say, I haven't... my forehead still looks like my forehead, I can still move, but I had this frown here, this line, that I just looked really irritable all the time, that...
And do you mind me asking how old you are? How old are you?
I'm 34.
You're 34?
Yes.
OK, because we've been hearing that what age is the right time to start these things, I guess?
Yeah, and do you know what? For everybody, it's different. I don't think I'm in a position to say you must be X age. If it's, the brilliant news in the news this week is that people under the age of 18, it's going to become illegal for them to have it done. And that is the most important thing, is this isn't makeup. This isn't just a quick blow dry. This is using injectables, and you are paying someone, which, by the way, it should be around, if it's fillers, around £200, Botox around £300. You are paying somebody for their medical expertise. So as brilliant as the word tweakment is, does it sort of make it think it's not serious?
So you had that line taken out with the Botox. Anything else?
And my nose, which is the big thing for me. So growing up, I was incredibly self-conscious of my nose. I think we've got a picture of it, which is quite like, because I've tried to hide it for growing up. But that's obviously the before, so you can see that bump. And it took 15 minutes, and he put a little bit of filler here. And lots of people will be thinking
your nose job. This isn't a nose job. This is
a nose tweak. In that sense. So it took 15 minutes, there was no downtime. And of course I could have gone down the traditional rhinoplasty road, and that's when they would take a hammer and smash the bone and reconstruct it, and I would have never got my old nose back.
So it took 15 minutes to do?
Yeah.
How long does it last?
A year. A year. So I am now in a place where I can decide if once a year I want to go. And sorry, I'm just noticing that that's...
I know, it's rude.
Stop it. I'm now in a place to decide, do I want to go once a year and have it done? I guess the same way if somebody is now dyeing their hair grey, dyeing their greys. Sorry, Philip. Or if someone is choosing to...
I do dye it grey.
Go from brunette to blonde, like I do.
As I've said before, it's black as a raven's wing, normally.
But it's, teeth whitening or cosmetic treatments for teeth. You wouldn't just go to a hairdresser and say, do you mind just, giving me veneers? You wouldn't do that. And it's the same way. So when if somebody is saying to you, oh, do you know what? I've got a bit of Botox in the back. Do you want it? No. No, you don't want it.
So where should you go?
Let's do that. So we've got some diagrams, actually. The team wanted to just make it, a bit obvious where clearer of where people tend to have Botox. So here we've got the forehead, the crow's feet, the glabella, which are those 11 lines there, which people talk. Yes, people talk about there. And there's actually a before and after of this, of crow's feet, because that's one of the most common questions I get asked about. So this before and after doesn't look like a different person. There's slightly, you know, the lines are slightly reduced on the side there.
Yeah.
So that's from Dr. Wasim Taktouk's clinic. And then with filler, if we move on to the next slide, please. We've got here, so, you know, people have it cheeks, nose, laughter
I think
lines.
the fear is when you see it taken to the extreme.
Absolutely.
And the same with Botox and the same with filler. And I think that's why it gets a bad reputation, that you don't want to be seen as one of those people that have it and you end up with that face that you don't want.
I think it's that and it's the doing it safely. That are the two things that we, as you know, it's a responsibility to drum it in. It's not bad if you want to try it, but who are you going to see to have it done?
And sort of Botox party, you know.
I mean, don't even... all of that is just so horrific and should be completely illegal. You know, nobody should be drinking alcohol, being under the influence and then going to have this done. This is a personal decision that people should be allowed to choose and decide, do they want to spend their money on this? Do they want to make that slight tweak? Are they happy? If they think it's going to change their lives, then they might be sorely disappointed. I think it's really important you understand why you're doing it and if you're doing it for yourself. You know, my nose is something that bothered me for a long time and I feel so much better. I'm okay with the cameras
unless you'd have said
in.
anything, I would never have known.
And I did it for the first time, you know, whilst I've been part of the This Morning family and nobody's ever noticed.
I would never
My fiancé asked me if it's new earrings. I was like, no!
But is that what you want, though?
Yes, no, it is. It's more just like, can you really... I was so shocked. I was more like... But yes, I mean, my mum asked if I had done anything to my eyebrows. You know, nobody could notice, but I could, and it made such a big difference for me. And life's too short to worry about what everyone else thinks. It's my confidence and how I feel, and I hope that can sort of help other people.
If you're going to do it safely.
Yes, that's
going to do it safely and keep checking yourself, because you may lose track of, am I doing too much? And don't be afraid to ask people, am I looking different? You know, I would hope you guys would tell me if I start morphing into something else. But that's why if the conversation gets to be a little bit more open, if we all talk a bit more openly, people might not feel so ashamed to ask the questions.
Well, you look beautiful.
Thanks so much, Holly.
Oh, well done. All right, thank you.